After being reborn, I did everything in my power to become the person Sean Luo hated most. He liked girls with long hair. Gentle and quiet girls. So, I cut off my waist-length black hair and went surfing and skiing with my friends. Playing all night. In my previous life, I didn't know until after I married him that he had always loved his adopted sister, Sean Luo. His mother threatened to commit suicide to break them up. And he had no choice but to marry me. All because I looked a bit like Sean Luo. And our marriage was always like that. He remained indifferent to me and entangled with Sean Luo. I cried. I made a scene. And finally, on my way to divorce him, I was in a car accident and died tragically. My friend, living her second life full of resentment, asked me in confusion, "Did you do all this to get Sean Luo's attention?" No. I tried to stay away from him as much as possible. My best friend invited me to her birthday party. When I entered the private room, it was the liveliest time. It wasn't until I walked up to my best friend that anyone noticed me. "Hey, Lon. Did you cut your hair?" My best friend, Lin Su, had a particularly loud voice, and everyone turned to look when she called out. The atmosphere fell silent instantly. Their gazes fixed on my short, ear-length hair, subtle expressions flickering across their faces, seemingly oblivious. I smiled. "Yes. I just got a haircut. The stylist said it really suits me. Does it look good?" "It looks good." "Fantastic." A few scattered words of agreement rang out. Those who complimented my appearance glanced unconsciously in a certain direction. "I don't think it looks very good." Amidst the praise, this blunt criticism stood out sharply. Sean Luo walked towards that direction. Then, as if she'd said something wrong, quickly covered her mouth, her face full of regret. "I'm sorry, Sister Lon. I accidentally voiced my thoughts. You know I'm always very straightforward. You won't blame me, will you?" Before I could speak, Sean Luo stood up and repeated, "Indeed. The situation isn't good at all." All her actions were to protect her. And the atmosphere suddenly became somewhat awkward. I just smiled indifferently. "As long as I like it. That's fine." Sean Luo told me to go outside. Outside the private room, we stood facing each other, under the corridor lights. The man's face was somewhat blurred, but I could sense his suppressed anger in his words. "Xiaoran. Who told you to suddenly cut your hair? Didn't I say I liked you with long hair? Like my girlfriend Sean Luo." I interrupted him. "Let's break up." The air seemed to freeze instantly. He frowned, as if wanting to say something. Suddenly, the sound of Sean Luo and Lin Su arguing came from the private room. Sean Luo's brows furrowed even more. He snorted contemptuously and said as he walked away, "Do whatever you want." He hurried back to his private room, watching his departing figure. I sighed softly. I've known Sean Luo since high school. In my first year of high school, I broke my leg while dancing and had to walk with crutches. Because of this, I was often bullied. They called me Little Cripple behind my back, deliberately tripped me, and stole my homework. Then I met Sean Luo. There are always moments when people are deeply attracted to someone. Sean Luo not only helped me but also protected me throughout my 3 years of high school. Even though my leg injury had long since healed, following him seemed to have become a habit. Everyone knew I liked him. He casually mentioned that he liked girls with long hair. So I grew my hair to my waist. He said girls should be gentle and quiet. So I quit the street dance club, stopped skiing in the mountains, and gave up surfing at the beach. I gave up my friends, gave up my hobbies, and molded myself into the kind of person he liked. Completely unrecognizable. In the end, my efforts paid off. We officially became boyfriend and girlfriend. And he even introduced me to his family. They adopted a girl named Sean Luo. When she saw Sean Luo, she affectionately took his arm. "Brother, Ranran's sister is really beautiful. You will have a happy future." He looks a bit like Ranran's sister too. A seemingly casual but slightly hostile remark. I didn't take it to heart. And they didn't notice Sean Luo's brief stiffness. In my past life, Sean Luo and I got married smoothly. However, after the marriage, he was always very cold to me. It wasn't until Sean Luo sent me their intimate video that I learned the truth. In the video, they were shamelessly doing things only lovers do. Sean Luo's provocative words pierced my heart like a sharp blade. If it weren't for my adoptive mother's interference, the position of Mrs. Sean should have been mine. "You think marrying him means you've won?" Not necessarily. He doesn't love you at all, you're just a substitute. Shocked and enraged. I coughed up blood. I took out the documents and went to file for divorce from Sean Luo. But on the way, I was in a car accident and died painfully. Unexpectedly. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. It was as if I had been reborn the very moment we entered university. This time, I did everything in my power to become the kind of person Sean Luo hated most. Completely unrecognizable as a substitute. I'd had enough. When I returned to the private room, Sean Luo was crying in front of me. It was your sister who started talking badly about Ran first. So I reprimanded her. If you want me to apologize, she has to apologize to Ran first. Sean Luo's eyes were red. And she said sadly, but I was just telling the truth. Is that wrong? When she looked up, her eyes were filled with tears. As if she had suffered some great injustice. Lin Su didn't intend to indulge her, then. If I said you're a green tea bitch. If I said you're disgusting. That's the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. Lin Su. That's enough. Sean Luo reprimanded sternly. And a tall figure stepped forward. Giving off a sense of oppression. Lin Su did not back down at all. At that moment, they all saw me. A sharp light flashed in Sean Luo's eyes. Ran's sister. You've finally come. From the conversation of the people around, I already knew the reason for Sean Luo and Lin Su's argument. After Sean Luo and I left the private room, Sean Luo said behind my back that I was stingy and mean. Because once when Sean Luo and I went on a trip to the Maldives together, Sean Luo wanted to come along too. I subtly suggested that I wanted to spend some time alone with Sean Luo. But she didn't seem to understand and ended up coming with us anyway. On the first day, Sean Luo was afraid of getting sunburned and didn't want to go out. So she stayed in the hotel all day playing games with me. On the second day, I finally persuaded her to go out. But she had a stomachache and felt unwell. So she booked the earliest flight back. And our long-awaited trip was ruined. I was filled with resentment and couldn't help but vent my anger on Sean Luo. Sean Luo cried and explained. I'm sorry. Ran's sister. I just wanted to get closer to you. My future sister-in-law. I didn't mean to. Sean Luo also came over to comfort me. But it was clear he was on her side, Ran. It was a pleasant meeting. And Ran is my family. If we get married, she will become your sister. What's wrong with giving her some private space? The word sister in the family made me decide to endure the torment again. Because at that time I truly loved Sean Luo and wanted to become his real family. For him, I was willing to give up myself. Change myself. Give up my dignity. And swallow my pride. But to my utter surprise, my tolerance still couldn't satisfy Sean Luo. She spoke ill of me behind my back. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. But I think Ran is making a mountain out of a molehill by getting angry over such a small thing. It gives off a malicious vibe. Lin Su happened to overhear this and was furious. Eventually arguing with Sean Luo. Seeing me walk in, Sean Luo showed no shame at being caught talking behind my back. Instead, her face was full of confidence and arrogance. Ran. I was just saying it casually. You don't mind, do you? Can't you control your friends? Is she making a mountain out of a molehill? Trying to drive a wedge between us? She looked at Lin Su smugly. Certain that I would, as before, choose to endure and swallow my anger to please Sean Luo. Avoiding conflict. Even facing the friend who had always supported and protected me. But I was destined to disappoint her. I looked into her eyes and said, honestly, word by word, I mind. As soon as I finished speaking, everyone, including Lin Su, froze. Her eyes widened slightly, staring intently at me. I smiled at her. Sean Luo seemed hesitant. She pulled at the corners of her mouth and said, Ran's sister. What did you just say? I said I don't mind you talking about me behind my back. Is this how you were raised? Sean Luo's face instantly flushed red. She looked up at Sean Luo with pitiful eyes. Her eyes brimming with tears. Just as she was about to collapse, anger flashed across Sean Luo's delicate features. But who knows what he was thinking at that moment. He said coldly, is it because you changed your hairstyle and I said it didn't look good that you got so angry? But don't go too far. Calm down and come back to me in a few days. After saying this, he pulled Sean Luo away. Looking into his eyes, I felt like I was about to burst out laughing. I broke up with him. All the arguments between Sean Luo and me were because I was petty. He never thought I was serious. After they left, Lin Su glanced at me with some annoyance. Lon Lon. I'm sorry. I made Shan Luo angry. Otherwise, I would have gone to apologize to Shan Luo. And I would have accepted whatever punishment they gave me. There was genuine worry in Lin Su's eyes. She knew how important Shan Luo was to me. I was willing to do anything for him. But that was before I realized what had happened. No need to go. I've already broken up with Shan Luo. Lin Su's eyes widened. Oh. Really? Yes. Really? I suddenly hugged Lin Su gently, resting my chin on her soft shoulder. And I felt like crying. Lin Su and I had known each other since childhood. When she was very young, she had lost all her hair due to illness and medication and was often ridiculed at school. As for me, I was an easygoing person. If anyone dared to laugh at me, I would definitely beat them up. Lin Su was very dependent on me. And we had similar interests. We both liked sports like skiing and surfing. We gradually became good friends. But everything changed after I met Shan Luo. I grew my hair long, became gentle and quiet, and stopped surfing, skiing, and dancing. Because of my changes, my friends gradually left one by one. Only Lin Su stayed. Friendship needs no words. Su. Thank you for not giving up on me. Lin Su was actually a little embarrassed. She patted my shoulder. It's just a breakup. Don't worry. There are many good men in this world. I'll help you find someone better. I didn't take Lin Su's words to heart. The first thing I did after returning to school was to quit the art club and join the street dance club. When I submitted my written withdrawal application to the supervising teacher, all the other members were present, including Shan Luo. One of the members asked, "Why did Xia Ran quit the group? Didn't she know that quitting would result in a deduction of points?" Another person replied, "What else could it be? She wanted to imitate Ran so much. But Ran overshadowed her. And she had a mental breakdown." This person was Shan Luo's roommate. So naturally she had to speak up for Shan Luo. Shan Luo had a hint of pride on her face. But not that much pride. I knew she didn't want me to leave the group because it was her comfort zone, where she could easily beat me. Shan Luo started drawing in elementary school and his skills were quite good, while I was just a beginner. When we were together, he said that girls who could draw would appear elegant and noble. So I gave up other hobbies and focused on learning painting. But after all, I hadn't studied as much as Shan Luo, who had studied for many years. So I was naturally inferior in many aspects. University clubs are very pragmatic places, especially since many activities are linked to academic credits. As one of the top members of the club, Shan Luo naturally arranged a lot of things for me. For example, once she asked me to get some drawing paper, and I accidentally got splashed with oil paint. The embarrassing photo was posted on the school forum and became a laughingstock. Now that I'm leaving the art club, she's naturally unhappy. She couldn't help but ask me, "Are you leaving the art club? Does Luo Ji know?" "It's none of his business," I replied. Shan Luo didn't expect me to be so direct. And I didn't give her a chance to argue. I picked up the teacher's approval letter and turned to leave. The next few days were unusually peaceful. I focused on my own things and didn't think about anything else. Occasionally, I would get together with a few friends, like Lin Su. One evening, I suddenly received a call from Shan Luo. His tone was pitiful. Ran. My stomach hurts. Could you bring me some medicine?" Shan Luo often had stomach problems and would get stomach aches. But he always forgot to take his medicine. So he always called me to bring him some. I coldly replied, "Shan Luo, have you forgotten we've broken up?" Shan Luo was silent for a moment, seemingly helpless. "Fine. That's enough. I've given you a way out. Stop dwelling on this. Okay. It was my fault that day. I shouldn't have called you ugly in front of everyone. You've been sulking for long enough. I apologize." His condescending, arrogant tone made his apology seem like something rare and precious. "I'm not angry. Perhaps when you're completely disappointed in someone, you stop reacting to their words and actions. Shan Luo, I want to break up with you. I'm serious." After saying that, I hung up the phone without waiting for his reaction. I sat quietly alone for a while, then sighed softly. Perhaps my serious attitude finally made Shan Luo realize that we had broken up. He didn't come looking for me again. It was Lin Su who mysteriously asked me out, saying she had a surprise for me. She specifically told me to put on makeup and dress nicely. I chose a Ralph Lauren dress. When I got there, I saw Lin Su waving happily at me, with someone standing next to her, Senior Meng Hang. I quickly ran over to greet him, while giving Lin Su a meaningful look, wanting to ask Senior Meng Hang what he was doing there. Senior Meng Hang was the top student in our department and a popular figure on campus. He was not only handsome and academically excellent, but also came from a good family, and had many admirers and fans on campus. However, I heard that he was rather aloof and didn't like to interact with people. I didn't know why I had run into Lin Su there. "Is this your boyfriend?" I pulled Lin Su aside and asked quietly. Lin Su said with a serious face, "No. This is your boyfriend." Me. Seeing my confused look, Lin Su finally smiled and explained what had happened. "Didn't I say last time I'd help you find a better man? So I posted a dating ad on social media with your photo, asking interested people to contact me. Then Senior Meng Hang contacted me, asking why I had his WeChat. Last time during my academic presentation in class, I had a question. So I added him." "Oh. That's not the point. The point is, today is your blind date. So you need to do well. I have high hopes for you." Me. Lin Su. That unreliable, clueless strategist. No matter how much I pointed at her, Lin Su pretended not to see it. She handed us both amusement park tickets, waved goodbye to Meng Hang, and walked away without looking back. I was so embarrassed I wanted to disappear into the ground. Senior Meng Hang seemed to notice me. He handed me a bottle of water and smiled slightly. "Don't be too nervous. Just treat it like going out with a regular friend. Have you been here before?" His attitude was natural. Just like him, relaxed and gentle. I gradually relaxed as well. I guessed that Senior Meng Hang might have something to talk to me about, which was why he casually arranged to meet Lin Su. Otherwise, with his fame and family background, he wouldn't be able to find a girlfriend like that. "What are you looking for? Do you really have to come here for a blind date?" Thinking of this, I relaxed even more. I picked out some games I liked and played while waiting for Senior Meng Hang to speak. Senior Meng Hang was very patient and considerate. I preferred the thrilling rides, but wearing a skirt was a bit inconvenient. Senior Meng Hang took off his coat and draped it over my legs. This reminded me of a time when I came to an amusement park with Sean Luo. Back then, when I wanted to play those games, he always frowned and scolded me, saying how dangerous those games were, how inconvenient it was to move around in a skirt, and that it was best not to go. There really are differences between people. Sean Luo's voice echoed in my mind, feeling as if I could truly hear it. I turned around and saw Sean Luo linked arms with another person, and they were looking at me at the same time. It was Sean Luo. His expression changed when he saw me, and seeing Senior Meng Hang behind me, he frowned and walked towards me. "Xiaoran, what are you doing here?" he questioned me, his tone aggressive yet tinged with righteous indignation, as if he had caught me red-handed. I didn't know how to answer for a moment. "A date." Senior Meng Hang behind me spoke up. "Who are you? What do you want?" Senior Meng Hang stepped forward and suddenly grabbed my hand with his fingers. I was startled but didn't pull away. His hand was large and warm, and my attention was involuntarily drawn to it. So much so that I didn't have time to pay attention to Sean Luo at all. Sean Luo's eyes sharpened instantly. He glared at me and raised his voice. "We broke up less than a month ago. And you've already found another man." I looked at him strangely. "What can I do? Should I keep chasing after you?" I only wanted Sean Luo to regret what he had just said. And without realizing it, my words indirectly acknowledged my relationship with Senior Meng Hang. Realizing this, I froze. I secretly glanced at Senior Meng Hang, only to find that the corners of his mouth were slightly upturned, showing no anger whatsoever. At this moment, Sean Luo also ran over. Seeing the three of us facing off, a complicated look flashed in her eyes, and she urged Sean Luo, "Brother Luo, let's go back." Sean Luo ignored her, seemingly angered by something. He glanced at the hand he was shaking with Senior Meng Hang, then at our expressions, and suddenly said anxiously, "Impossible. You're lying to me. Right?" He seemed to want to confirm this, but also seemed to be convincing himself. "You and Meng Hang weren't even that close before. How could you be dating so quickly? You must have just happened to run into me and then lied about dating. Right?" I felt guilty. What he said was actually true. But I couldn't show weakness. So I shouted, "Who said that?" "He's my boyfriend." Shan Luo's face turned pale. And Senior Manghang remained expressionless, simply placing a light hand on my shoulder and calmly saying, "Let's go." I ignored them. After distancing myself from Shan Luo and the others, I released my grip on Senior Manghang's hand and apologized. "I'm sorry, Senior. I was so flustered at the time that I accidentally said you were my boyfriend. If this causes any negative impact on you later, I will definitely explain it clearly. I mean it sincerely. After all, I don't know if Shan Luo will spread what happened today. Senior Manghang is very popular at school, and it would be terrible if it caused unnecessary misunderstandings." Thinking of this, I became even more uneasy. Unexpectedly, Senior Manghang suddenly bent down, his gaze level with mine, and smiled faintly. "You don't need to apologize. I originally wanted to date you. And I'm glad you told others that I'm your boyfriend." I was a little stunned. I suddenly remembered what Lin Su had said. She had posted a dating ad on social media, and Senior Manghang had contacted her. So, Senior Manghang didn't want to talk to her about anything. Was he really just here for a blind date? But why? Manghang looked into my eyes and chuckled softly. "You might have forgotten. But we've met before. I've liked you for a long time." I suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I really had forgotten. Senior Manghang didn't continue. He simply asked me, "Would you be willing to give it a try with me?" His eyes were sincere, but also carried a hint of nervousness and unease. I was drawn to his gaze, but I still refused him. There was no other reason. In my past life, I had been hurt too deeply by Shan Luo, making it impossible for me to easily open my heart to another intimate relationship. Senior Manghang wasn't angry even after being rejected. He just smiled gently. "It's okay." Shan Luo fell into deep thought. Since leaving the amusement park, he had been in a very strange state: anger, pain, panic, denial, and regret. He hadn't even heard Shan Luo speak to him. His mind was filled with Xiao Ran. To be honest, he hadn't liked Xiao Ran at first. Initially, he approached her only to find a girlfriend of similar social standing who was devoted to others. He truly loved Shan Luo. But he and Shan Luo were destined to have no future. Even though they weren't related by blood, siblings were still siblings. And his parents would never approve. As for Xiao Ran, she was beautiful and came from a wealthy family. Moreover, her admiration for Shan Luo was undisguised, passionate, and dazzling. This was completely different from Shan Luo, who had always been gentle and reserved. Shan Luo had only mentioned it to Xiao Ran. But Xiao Ran was truly willing to change for him, growing her hair long for him, giving up her previous hobbies, and distancing herself from old friends. She loved him deeply. He enjoyed this admiration. But one day, everything changed. She suddenly cut her hair short, and she broke up with him. Shan Luo thought she was just sulking because after cutting her hair short, he had told her in front of everyone that she wasn't pretty. To defend Shan Luo, he also said she wasn't pretty. Actually, she looked quite pretty. Refreshing. You see, the words were already out. And that was the only way. He thought Xiao Ran wouldn't care. It had happened many times before. And she had never cared. Perhaps today she felt embarrassed and couldn't care less. So she started a fight to break up. To be honest, Shan Luo's heart tightened. But then he thought, how could that be? Xiao Ran loves him so much. She must be playing hard to get. Shan Luo didn't take it to heart. She would definitely regret it. The banquet ended unpleasantly. Shan Luo didn't contact Xiao Ran proactively, but waited for her to calm down and beg for reconciliation. Nothing the first day. Nothing the second day. Nothing for a whole week. Shan Luo grew increasingly anxious. While drinking with friends, they teased him. Where's your girlfriend? Did you really break up? Shan Luo called Xiao Ran. For the first time. Okay. I'll give her a chance. He told Xiao Ran he had a stomachache and asked her to bring him medicine. He had a history of stomach problems, and he used to deliberately forget to bring his medicine so Xiao Ran would bring it. The envious looks from his friends made him even more vain. Xiao Ran's gentle advice and reproach softened his heart. Especially seeing Xiao Ran's sadness, heartache, and worry, a sweet feeling even welled up inside him. This time, when he called, he thought Xiao Ran would still worry about him as before. But there was only indifference on the other end of the line. Shan Luo. I broke up with you. I mean it. Shan Luo was at a loss. After the initial confusion, Anger burned fiercely in his heart. This time. He was stubborn. Fine. So what if we broke up? Let's see who regrets it. He comforted himself. Xiao Ran loved him so much. How could she bear to break up with him? Even if they really broke up. It didn't matter. Shang Luo was always jealous. The only person he truly loved was Shang Luo himself. Even so, he still secretly checked Xiao Ran's social media every day, browsed her social media accounts, and even tried to find out about her recent situation from her friends. He told himself that he wasn't interested in her, but wanted to see her heartbroken after the breakup. That day, he overheard Lin Su buying 2 amusement park tickets. Was Xiao Ran going to the amusement park with Lin Su? He suddenly thought that he might as well go see her. And if he happened to run into her, he might be able to apologize. He also bought a ticket for the same day. He had originally planned to go alone. But Shang Luo discovered she had bought tickets and was overjoyed. Brother Luo, are you going to take me? Looking at her fawning expression, a hint of shyness crossed his face. But he ultimately didn't refuse. He simply nodded in agreement. Then felt a pang of regret. But what regretted him even more was seeing another man standing beside Xiao Ran. It was as if a fire had consumed his reason, pride, and composure. Without thinking, he rushed over, questioning her. But Xiao Ran's eyes held no longing for him, no sadness or pain, not even anger. Only calm, only contempt. Shang Luo truly panicked, truly felt heartbroken. Even after she and Meng Heng walked away, he still wondered, will it really end like this? Can you really let go so easily? No. Absolutely not. I don't know what Shang Luo was thinking. Because when we parted that day, I had to attend a banquet. Senior Meng Heng said his mother's birthday was coming up and he would be holding a birthday party, inviting me to attend. He'll also invite other classmates from school. So you don't need to feel pressured, you can even treat me like a regular friend. I thought about it and agreed. There were indeed many people at the banquet. The Meng family was a wealthy and influential family, and many people wanted to curry favor with them. I even saw the Shang family. Mrs. Shang saw me too, and she walked towards me, with Shang Luo following behind. Ran. Why haven't you come to our house to play lately? I was thinking about you the other day. Mrs. Shang was a very strict person, but she was very kind to me. She liked me a lot in my past life, otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to my relationship with Shang Luo. Since confirming my relationship with Shang Luo, I often went to their house as a guest. But that's all in the past. Shang Luo and I have broken up. As I spoke, I glanced at Shang Luo. It seemed he hadn't told his mother yet. Mrs. Shang's face showed surprise. Then her expression turned displeased. She turned to Shang Luo and asked sharply, what happened? Shang Luo hesitated for a moment before slowly saying, it's all my fault. I will try my best to win Ranran's forgiveness. Standing to the side, seeing Shang Luo being scolded, Shang Luo couldn't help but say, actually, it's not entirely Luo Ji's fault. However, before she could finish speaking, she was slapped by Madame Shang. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Madame Shang already knew about Shang Luo and Shang Luo's relationship. It was because of her opposition that Shang Luo couldn't be with him. Madame Shang turned around, took my hand, and said softly, Ran, Luo made you angry. I will go back and talk to him. Please give him another chance. I sincerely hope you can become my daughter-in-law. After she finished speaking, a hint of expectation flashed in Shang Luo's eyes. However, Shang Luo looked at me with resentment. Just as I was about to refuse, a voice suddenly came from the side. Ran. What are you doing here? I've been looking for you for a long time. I turned around and saw Senior Meng Heng. He was wearing a black suit today. Impeccably dressed. And handsome. He walked up to me, politely greeted Mrs. Shang and the others, and then extended his hand to me with a hint of familiarity. May I have the honor of inviting you to dance? I glanced at Mrs. Shang and the people beside her. They looked somewhat embarrassed. I placed my hand in his palm, said goodbye to Mrs. Shang, and let Senior Meng Heng lead me away. After they were out of sight, I quietly said to Senior Meng Heng, thank you, Senior, for rescuing me from that predicament. Senior Meng Heng chuckled softly, yes, it's true that I rescued you from that situation. And I really wanted to dance with you. In the end, I danced with him. An elegant waltz. With a light rhythm and beautiful melody. Just as it was about to end. He leaned close to my ear and whispered a few words. Xiaoran. Don't give Shan Luo another chance. You're not good enough for him. And he's not good enough for you. My heart warmed. And tears almost welled up in my eyes. In the past, I always reflected on whether I had done enough. Which was why Shan Luo repeatedly betrayed my feelings. After being reborn, I am no longer lost. It wasn't that I wasn't good enough. But that Shan Luo didn't know how to cherish me. However, thinking of the hurt I suffered in my past life, a bitter feeling still lingered in my heart. Now, Senior Manghang's affirmation was like a gentle breeze, soothing the resentment in my heart. If you don't appreciate me, someone else will. After the banquet, my relationship with Senior Manghang became closer. He pursued me almost without reservation. I also gradually tried to get along with him. But this time, unlike when I was with Shan Luo, I no longer poured all my emotions into him. I wouldn't swallow my anger for him anymore. And I wouldn't let myself get hurt. I believe a normal romantic relationship should be like this, not one person blindly changing themselves to please the other, but two people sharing a story of love, appreciating each other, and growing together. For some reason, Shan Luo suddenly became unusually attentive to me. He kept sending me flowers and bringing me breakfast. I didn't accept any of these things. I've told him countless times that I'll never get back together with him. But he just won't believe me. You've done so much for me. How could you not love me? You're just angry with me. Right. I'm speechless at his stubbornness. But this isn't the end of the story. One day, a post suddenly appeared on the school forum. The first page of the post had my photo on it, with two big words above it, slut. It was obvious that the post was aimed at me. It said that I was seducing Manghang while toying with Shan Luo's feelings. In addition, it listed various pieces of evidence. These photos were things Shan Luo sent me. And there were also photos of me and Manghang together. At first, it wasn't a big deal. At most just a relationship argument. But Manghang was very popular at school. And soon people started bothering me. That day, I went to the changing room of the dance studio. When I opened my locker, a bloody dead rat fell out. Lin Su was also startled. And she asked me what to do. I whispered, "Call the police." The police quickly found the culprit, a little girl with a bun hairstyle. When she was brought before me, her face still bore an expression of surprise and fear. She probably hadn't expected me to call the police so directly. She had only intended to disgust me. But she didn't think she had done anything wrong. "This is all your own fault. Who told you to be so careless? I just wanted to teach you a lesson. You're not only sexually promiscuous, but also narrow-minded." Lin Su was so angry she wanted to hit her. But I quickly grabbed Lin Su. I stared intently at her. And the girl seemed somewhat uncomfortable under my gaze. "What? What do you want?" I didn't answer her, but turned to the policeman next to me. "Her behavior can be considered intimidation. Right. Correct. I don't accept mediation. If it can be a criminal sentence, then let it be a criminal sentence." As the little girl was taken away by the police, her face instantly turned deathly pale. She trembled all over. And her eyes filled with tears. Of course, I was just trying to scare her. Intimidation can indeed lead to imprisonment. But only in serious cases. In her case, at most she would face an apology and a fine. People always have to pay the price for their actions. Lin Su gloated. "This is like killing the chicken to scare the monkey. Now, let's see who dares to cause trouble again." I glanced at her. The real culprit is the person who posted this message. Lin Su. Okay. I'll have someone investigate. I shook my head. No need. I can guess who it is. It's definitely one of them. I went to find Shan Luo first. Shan Luo suffers from stomach problems and has been hospitalized for several days. When he saw me come in, a hint of joy flashed across his face. Ran. Did you come to see me specifically?" I didn't exchange pleasantries and directly took out the letter and placed it in front of him. "Did you do this?" Shan Luo examined it carefully. And his face gradually showed anger and grievance. "How could you think it was me?" He really had no idea. He had been hospitalized for stomach problems a few days ago and was feeling unwell. So he didn't care about this kind of news. He only heard about it today. I expressionlessly put away my phone. "Fine. Since it wasn't you, I'll go back now." Shan Luo quickly grabbed my arm, his tone softening as he pleaded. Ran. Please don't be angry anymore. I shouldn't have criticized you in front of so many people last time. Please forgive me this time. Okay. He seemed confused. Everything had been fine before. But just because of something as small as a new hairstyle, he insisted on breaking up. He really didn't understand. Which was why he always thought I was just throwing a tantrum. I looked at him quietly. Are you really with me? Or do you just want me to continue being Sean Luo's substitute? He seemed struck by lightning. His voice trembling. How did you know? I ignored him and turned to leave. But unexpectedly, Sean Luo quickly followed. He was barefoot. Looked very nervous. And his clothes were somewhat disheveled. He anxiously grabbed my arm. Ran. I admit I've had these thoughts before. But I don't like Sean Luo anymore. I'm sure the person I love is you. I glanced at him coldly. If you really like me, please don't bother me anymore. His face turned pale. After being discharged from the hospital, I went to see Sean Luo again. But this time I didn't go alone. I brought the police and a lawyer with me. Sean Luo initially denied it. But when the police presented the evidence to her, she spoke up. She remained silent for a long time, then said in a low voice, I just exaggerated the facts a little. I didn't cause you any real harm. Was it really necessary to call the police? I sneered. You don't really think you can spread malicious rumors without consequences, do you? Sean Luo shouted at me. Her eyes filled with tears. It's all your fault. Before, Brother Luo only had me in his heart. And you took him away from me. You two were just acting. You have no idea how important Brother Luo is to me. You don't deserve him, he will always be mine. Sean Luo was taken away by the police. When she was taken away, her face was filled with resentment and forbidden love. Her adoptive mother's opposition, her hidden desires, and her jealousy and resentment towards me fueled her reckless and crazy behavior. Seeing her like this, for some reason, I suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. Soon, my premonition came true. News of Sean Luo's arrest for spreading rumors spread quickly. Although she was released soon after, people continued to gossip about her behind her back. Someone even started a thread on the school forum specifically to discuss the incident, that those who hurt others will ultimately hurt themselves. She eventually faced strong opposition and experienced the bitterness of being slandered by the masses. Taking advantage of this incident, she didn't come to school for several days. However, when she reappeared, she was driving a car. That day, I had just finished class and was on my way to meet Manghang. The roar of the engine suddenly filled the air. And amidst screams, the car hurtled straight towards me. Watch out! Manghang reacted quickly, pulling me aside. The car grazed my skirt. Sean Luo slammed on the brakes, glanced back at me, a look filled with jealousy and madness. She had gone mad. She turned again and walked towards me. The rest of the people scattered in all directions. The scene a chaotic mess. Manghang pulled me aside again to prevent me from being splattered with blood. But the blood still spread. Sean Luo had hit someone, it was Sean Luo. Sean Luo lay on the ground, covered in blood. Sean Luo suddenly burst into tears and ran out of the car. Brother Luo. Brother Luo. No one saw how Sean Luo got there. But everyone knew he was trying to stop Sean Luo. The ambulance arrived quickly. And the police followed. The two were taken away separately. I was still shaken. Manghang gently hugged me and patted my back. Everything's all right now. 6 months later, the dust settled. Sean Luo was sentenced to life imprisonment. He didn't die. But he lost a leg and had to take a leave of absence from school. Manghang was also about to graduate and enter society. At the graduation ball, the street dance team performed. And I was going to perform too. While I was putting on makeup backstage, a new colleague said someone was looking for me. I went out and saw Sean Luo. He sat in a wheelchair, quietly watching everything. His eyes deep and weary, as if lost in thought. When I walked over, he smiled at me. Ran. You've lived a truly wonderful life. After a near-death experience, he was reborn. I turned and walked back without saying another word. Whatever happened in my past life, I didn't want to have anything to do with him again in this life. Soon it was my turn to go on stage. On stage, I and my like-minded friends gave our all. In the audience, Manghang's eyes were fixed on me. Seeing him like that, I suddenly remembered my mother had been hospitalized for an appendectomy. During her hospitalization, I visited her every day. At the hospital, I met a little boy who was secretly crying outside. I wanted to cheer him up. So I danced for him. His eyes then and now are exactly the same, sincere and focused. I smiled. Story 2. Reborn. On the day my regimental commander husband died in the line of duty, I immediately cancelled his household registration and remarried with a large pension. This time without his registration. Let's see how he and his childhood sweetheart live it up in the city. Hello everyone. Welcome to Empress Revenge Stories. Let's begin. Comrade Lin Wanu. Please accept my condolences. Commander Liu died while trying to salvage collective property that had fallen into the river. Old Wang from the gatehouse wiped his tears as he handed me a certificate stamped with a bright red official seal. The neighbors quickly gathered around, their sounds of sympathy and sobs enveloping me. They said Lu Chongfang was a hero. They said I was unlucky. A beautiful young widow who hadn't even had a few good days of marriage. I stared at that thin sheet of paper, my nails digging deep into my palms. The sting reminded me that this wasn't a dream. I, Lin Wanu, had truly been reborn. Reborn on the first day of Lu Changfeng's fake death. In my past life, I had wept bitterly over that paper to preserve his reputation. I worked day and night, supported his parents, and even gave my job position to his so-called distant cousin by Manon. It wasn't until 3 years later when I accidentally saw him in the Southern Special Economic Zone, his arm around by Man 1 in a garden villa celebrating their child's first birthday, that I learned the truth. This line of duty death was nothing but a scheme to get rid of me, the obstacle to their love, so he could live happily ever after with his true love. Yuan, don't frighten everyone, just let it out, the woman across the hall said, giving me a gentle push. I looked up. There wasn't a single tear on my face. In act, my calm was almost frightening. Uncle Wang. This certificate came quickly enough since the organization has already made its determination. Shouldn't I go through the procedures immediately? My voice was as cold as shards of ice. Yes. Yes. You should. Better to get it done quickly. The pension will come sooner that way. It'll be hard for you, being on your own now. Old Wang sighed. I didn't respond. I turned and walked quickly back into the house. Lu Chongfang. Since you want so badly to disappear from my world, to completely erase your identity and start a new life, then I'll help you. I pulled out the household registration booklet hidden at the very bottom of the cabinet. On it, our names were still listed side by side. In this era, when you needed an official letter of introduction just to leave town and ration coupons to buy rice and oil, one's household registration was their lifeline. With the certificate in hand, I rode my 28-inch bicycle straight to the police station to cancel his registration. The clerk was a thin middle-aged man. He pushed up his glasses, looked at the military certificate in my hand, and said, "Comrade, this is Commander Liu. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? What if?" "There is no what if." I cut him off, my tone resolute. "If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his body. The organization has issued its document. That's the final word. As his family member, I can't hold the country back. Cancel it." With a loud thump, the stamp bearing the characters for cancelled came down hard on Lu Changfen's page. Seeing those 2 characters, the resentment that had built up in my heart for decades dissipated by more than half. Lu Chongfang. From this moment on, you are legally dead. Even if you miraculously come back in a few days, you'll be an unregistered, unofficial black market person with no ration coupons. After cancelling his registration, I hurried straight to the Armed Forces Department. I want to collect Comrade Lu Changfeng's pension today, along with his accumulated allowance and resettlement fee. The clerk in charge was stunned. He had clearly never seen a widow so proactive. "Comrade Lin. The procedure. His parents are in our hometown. I am his only legal wife in the city. The house belongs to his work unit. Now that he's gone, I could be asked to vacate it at any time. I need this money to survive. If you won't process it, I'll go to the military district and ask the leadership if a hero shed his blood. Should his family shed tears and go hungry?" My words carried weight, coupled with the certificate of cancelled registration. The clerk didn't dare delay. 2,000 yuan in pension, plus the 800-odd yuan in Lu Changfeng's bank account in an era when monthly wages were only a few dozen yuan. This was a staggering fortune. I stuffed the thick stack of 10 yuan notes into my bag and walked out the door. The sunlight was so bright it made my eyes sting. Back at the compound, before I even entered the house, I heard a soft broken sobbing from inside. It was by Man. She was wearing a plain white polyester cotton shirt sitting on a camp stool in my home, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief, crying so piteously that she looked more like the grief-stricken widow than I did. Wanujia. You're back. My man shrank back slightly when she saw me, but deep in her eyes was a hint of barely concealed smugness about Chongfang. You must take care of yourself. Before he left, he told me to look after you in the future. Look after me in my bed or in my bank account. I slapped my bag down on the table with a dull thud. By Mainan. Since Lu Chongfang treats you like a sister, now that he's died, shouldn't you do your part? By Mainan froze for a moment, then choked out. Of course. What concerns Chongfang concerns me. Good. Perfect timing. I let out a cold laugh and pulled a long list from my bag. It was a record of the money Lu Chonggong had secretly given the B family over the years. I had investigated it thoroughly. This is the money Lu Chongfang has lent your family. 360 yuan. Now that he's gone and I have no one to rely on, you can pay it back today. Also, everything he bought in this house. I sold it all to a scrap collector on my way back. He'll be here soon to haul it away. By Mainan's crying stopped abruptly. Her eyes went wide with disbelief. Wanujia. Have you gone mad? Chongfang, just how can you sell his things? This is disrespectful to a martyr. Since he's gone, why keep his things around to attract ghosts? I pressed forward, grabbing by Manlin's arm and dragging her toward the door. Since you care so much about him, why don't you go wait by the river and see if you can summon his spirit back? As for this house, I'm returning it to the unit tomorrow. Don't come around here crying anymore. I shoved by Man, making her stumble. Just then, a commotion arose at the gate of the compound. A jeep screeched to a halt downstairs, and several men in uniform ran up the stairs. Comrade Lin Wua. Quickly. Commander Lu has been found. He's not dead. He was rescued. The neighbors burst into cheers of relief. Bai Mainan wept with joy and scrambled to her feet, trying to rush forward. I stood on the steps, still clutching the cancellation certificate, the corner of my mouth curling into a cruel smile. Lu Chongfang. You've returned too soon. Too bad there's no place for you in this home anymore. When Lu Chongfang entered the compound, he was still wearing a tattered old military greatcoat, his face pale from the shock, but the look of relieved affection in his eyes when he saw Bai Man was unmistakable. Chongfang. Bai Manwen shrieked, throwing herself at him like a swallow, returning to its nest, grabbing his sleeve in front of everyone. I knew you weren't dead. If you had left me, what would I have done? The neighbors all commented on how devoted the cousin was. Lu Chonggong patted Bai Manwen's hand weakly, then looked up at me, standing motionless on the steps. A flicker of barely perceptible disgust crossed his eyes, quickly masked by his usual hypocritical composure. Wani. I'm sorry you were frightened. I was lucky. Fishermen downstream rescued me and I came back as soon as I could. His voice was horsero. He started toward the house. Let's go inside. Too many people out here. I stepped sideways, blocking the doorway like a statue, still clutching the stack of freshly withdrawn ink-scented banknotes. Go inside. Which inside? I raised an eyebrow, my voice cold as ice. Lu Chongfang froze, his brow furrowing. Lin Wanu. What's wrong with you? I came back from the dead. And instead of asking how I am, you're blocking the door. Lu Chongfang. You came back just in time in front of everyone. Let's settle our accounts. I pulled the page from the household registration booklet with the cancellation stamp and threw it at his chest. You're already dead. This is the proof. I went to the police station and had your registration cancelled just now. As far as your file is concerned, you're a dead man. Lu Chongfang caught the paper. When he saw the cancelled stamp, his pupils contracted sharply. His voice shot up an octave. Are you crazy? I've been missing less than 24 hours. And you've already cancelled my registration. Do you know what this means for my rank and housing allocation? Of course I know. I stepped forward, staring him down. That's exactly why I did it so quickly. Aren't you a hero? When a hero dies, his family should cooperate with the organization immediately. Not only did I cancel your registration, but I also collected your pension. I raised my bag, letting the corner of the green banknotes peek out. The murmurs around us changed tone. The neighbors' eyes were full of curiosity and disbelief. Bai Man, thinking she'd found a weapon to use against me, pointed at me and shouted, Lin Wanu. This is murder for profit. Good isn't even cold yet and you're already eyeing his money. Are you even human? Whether I'm human or not. Lu Chonggong knows best. I laughed coldly, then turned to him. Commander Lu. What about that crate of collective property you jumped in to save? Why didn't you bring it back? And by man. You were crying even louder than I was. Saying if Chong Fong leaves me, I won't be able to go on. I'm curious. He's a married man. If he abandons you, a distant cousin, why wouldn't you be able to go on? Lu Changfeng's face darkened. He snapped. Wani Man was just frightened. Don't you dare throw mud at her. Give me the money and come with me to the police station to restore my registration and I'll let this go. Restore it. This isn't your backyard. It's a police station. I cut him off. Lu Chongfeng. The pension was exactly 28.56 for you and I've already deposited it all into a fixed-term account in my name. You earned that money by dying. Now that you're not dead, you owe that money to the organization. You want to restore your identity. Fine. First, return that 2,800 plus yuan to the Armed Forces Department. Then go to the military district's political department and write a 20,000-word self-criticism explaining exactly where you were and who you were with during those missing hours. Lu Changfeng's breathing grew rapid. There was no way he could come up with that kind of money. Most of his salary had gone to subsidizing by man. And what little was left I had already withdrawn from his passbook. More importantly, this fake death had been by Manwen's idea to get out of a mission so he could go south and speculate in real estate if they really investigated. His uniform would be stripped from him. Lin Wanu. What exactly do you want? His voice was low, full of threat. I don't want anything. I've just had enough of this life. I pulled another document from my bag. An agreement I had prepared long ago. This is our divorce agreement. Since your registration is already cancelled, our marriage is legally over. You walk away with nothing. Consider that 2,000 yuan compensation for the emotional damage you've caused me over the years. You and your maiden can go wherever you want. But this house was allocated to a family member. And I am now the widow of a martyr. This house belongs to me in your dreams. Bai Man shrieked. This house was allocated based on Chong Fengji's rank. What right do you have to take it? Because in his file, he's already dead. I yelled back, my voice commanding Bai Man 1. Take one more step toward me and I will report you for seducing a serving officer and destroying a military marriage. Well, see whether you move into a new house first or get sent to a re-education farm. The venom in my eyes frightened Bai Man 1. She stepped back looking to Lu Chonggong for help. Lu Changfen's face was ashen as he stared at me. He realized that the Lin Wanu before him had completely changed. She was no longer the soft, malleable woman who only knew how to cook and clean and cry quietly in her room when wronged. Just as the standoff reached its peak, a steady, powerful set of footsteps sounded on the stairs. What's all this noise? The crowd parted. A man in a crisp military uniform as straight as a pine tree walked up the stairs. The insignia on his shoulders glinted in the sunlight. His cold, imposing presence instantly silenced the commotion. It was Huan Xiao, Lu Changfeng's only rival in the military district and the man I had most revered in my past life. When Lu Chongfeng saw Huan Xiao, his body instinctively straightened and he saluted. Deputy Brigade Commander Hua Hazin Xiao's eagle-sharp eyes swept over Lu Chongfeng and finally landed on me. The corner of his mouth seemed to curl into an amused smile. His voice was low and powerful. Commander Lu, I heard you died in the line of duty. I was about to take some men to the river to look for you. Your return is faster than a fish. Cold sweat instantly poured down Lu Changfeng's back. I straightened my spine, met Huan Xiao's gaze and said calmly, Brigade Commander Hua. Since Commander Lu has returned safely, that's good news. But as his family member, I've been through a terrible shock. I'm emotionally exhausted. And I'm about to go through divorce proceedings with the resurrected Commander Lu. Since you're here, could you bear witness? Huh. Shura raised an eyebrow and looked at me with deep, penetrating eyes. He pulled a cigarette from his pocket. Didn't light it. Just twirled it between his fingers. Divorce. That's Commander Lu's private matter. He paused, then shifted his tone. However, the details of Commander Lu's sacrifice and the matter of his widow's pension do need to be clarified. Lu Chongfeng. Come with me. Let's get your report written. Lu Changfeng's face turned the color of pig liver. He knew that once he got to Huan Xiao's office, his secrets would be exposed. Wani, stop this nonsense. Come inside. Lu Chongfeng made a last-ditch effort to grab my wrist. Before he could touch me, Huan Xiao stepped between us, blocking him. Commander Lu. Stretch your hand too far and it might break. Huh. Zinnia said coldly. Then turned to me. Comrade Lin. If you've been wronged, the military district's door is always open. As for that 2,000 yuan, since your husband's registration has been cancelled, you keep it. That is your rightful compensation. Watching the despair and rage on Lu Changfen's face, I felt a profound sense of satisfaction. Thank you, Brigade Commander Hua. I slammed the door shut in front of everyone, shutting out the ugly faces of Lu Chongfeng and B-Man. Outside, his angry roars and her sobs faded. I knew this was only the beginning. Through the door, I heard Lu Chongfeng kick the door frame in frustration, followed by Huan Xiao's stern order. Commander Lu, mind your soldierly image. Come with me. When the sound of footsteps had completely disappeared from the hallway, I didn't sit down to rest. I dragged a dusty suitcase from under the bed and started throwing out everything that belonged to Lu Chonggong. His Jiangzan suit, his military cap, his pretentious books. I piled them all by the door like trash. In my past life, I had treated these things like treasures, even checking his pockets before washing his clothes to make sure I didn't ruin any important papers. That wasn't devotion. That was stupidity. After I finished, dusk had fallen. I tucked the household registration booklet now with only my name and my passbook into my pocket and left the family compound. I was going to go on a blind date. Right now. This instant. In those days, a divorced woman clinging to a military-allocated house would be torn apart by gossip. And though Lu Chanfeng's position was now awkward, he hadn't yet been stripped of his rank. Once he caught his breath, he would use organizational pressure to force me to remarry him or move out. Before he could react, I needed to find myself a more powerful protector. The person I was going to meet was introduced by Aunt Zhang, the best-known matchmaker in the compound. Wani, have you really thought this through? Aunt Zhang held my hand at the entrance to the alley, her face full of concern. That was Zinnia is famously hard as a rock. He's over 30 and still unmarried. They say it's because his family background is too prominent and no ordinary woman can handle him. He's as stubborn as an ox. You've been hurt by Lu Chongfeng. Why jump into another fire pit? I smiled faintly. Auntie, even a fire pit is better than a mud pit. Deputy Brigade Commander Hua is an upright man. He doesn't play dirty games. The truth is I chose Huan Xiao because I knew his future. Later, he would leave the military and go into business, becoming one of the first tycoons in the special economic zone. Most importantly, he never married in his life. His comrade said his heart was pure and couldn't tolerate filth. The matchmaking was held in the small dining hall of the military district guest house. When I arrived, Huhinia was already there. He wasn't wearing his uniform, just a simple white shirt with his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing his strong, veined forearms. Sit. He looked up, his gaze sharp enough to see right through me. I sat down without ceremony and got straight to the point. Brigade Commander Hua. Let's skip the usual small talk. I know your situation. You need a wife who can keep up appearances cause you know trouble and have the right political consciousness to appease your family. I need a status that will allow me to stay in this compound and shut Lu Chongfeng up for good. We can help each other. Huh. Jin Xiao took a sip of his drink, studying me with interest. Lin Wanu. You just canceled your husband's registration and now you're looking to marry his rival. If word of this gets out, your reputation will be ruined. Can I eat my reputation? I met his gaze. I'm divorced. But he's not completely gone legally. This is messy. But I have his death certificate and the cancellation order. If we get our license today, I become your family member. If Lu Chongfeng makes trouble, that would be interfering with a military marriage. Brigade Commander Hua. Are you willing to take on this hot potato? Huh. Jin Xiao put down his glass and leaned forward, his presence suddenly overwhelming. Aren't you afraid of me? He asked, his voice low. I'm afraid of poverty, of humiliation, of repeating my mistakes. But I'm not afraid of a man of character. I slapped the 2,000 yuan down on the table. This is my dowry, the pension I earned myself. I won't spend your money. I can even help you care for your ailing mother. Just give me a title. Huh. Xiao stared at the stack of money for a long time, then let out a low chuckle. The laugh was deep and magnetic, making my ears tingle. Lin Wanu. You're a very interesting woman. He stood up and buttoned his shirt. Put your money away. I would never stoop to spending a woman's pension. Did you bring your household registration booklet? Yes. Let's go. The civil affairs office is still open. He was efficient and decisive. He didn't even ask why I was in such a hurry. Half an hour later, when I walked out of the office holding the red marriage certificate, the setting sun was a brilliant crimson. At the same time, Lu Chonggong was limping out of the military district building. He had just spent 3 hours being interrogated by Huinshao's men about what he had been doing during the 5 hours he was missing. He had lied, saying he had been knocked unconscious and swept away. But the skepticism in the interrogator's eyes left him unsettled. All he wanted now was to go home, get the money back from Lin Wanu, and pull some strings to restore his registration. Bai Meinan was still waiting for him at the guest house, expecting his promise of buying a house. But when he got home, all he saw was his belongings scattered in the hallway like a pile of old vegetables. Lin Wanu opened the door. Lu Chongfang pounded on the door like a madman. The door opened. But it wasn't me. It was Huan Xiao. He was wearing a tank top and holding a basin, looking as if he had just finished washing up. He was half a head taller than Lu Chongfang, and his commanding presence had been replaced by a humiliatingly casual indifference. Comrade Lu, can I help you? Huh? Xiao raised an eyebrow. Lu Changfeng's eyes nearly popped out of his head. He pointed inside, sputtering incoherently. You. Why are you in my house? Where's Lin Yuan? That wretched woman. Watch your mouth. Huh? Xiao's face darkened. He pulled the brand new red marriage certificate from his pocket and waved it in front of Lu Changfeng's face. This apartment is now my family's quarters. Hua is now my legal wife. As for you, Huan Xiao sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. A dead man on file who's trespassing on private property. I could have you sent to the security office. Lu Chongfeng felt as if he'd been struck by lightning. He stared at the date on the certificate. Today's date. Lin Wanu. You shameless wretch. You can-led my registration in the morning and remarried in the afternoon. Lu Chonggong screamed hysterically, trying to push his way inside. I stepped out from behind Xiao. I was now wearing a simple, neat cloth shirt, holding a bowl of freshly heated noodles. Lu Chongfeng. This is called efficiency. My tone was calm, my eyes full of pity. When you faked your death for Bai Man's sake, weren't you hoping I'd just disappear and make room for you? Well, I'm making room. And I've found myself a better place to go. You should be thanking me because now the whole world knows you've resurrected. But there's no place for you in this city anymore. Lu Chongfeng was shaking with rage. He couldn't catch his breath and collapsed onto his pile of filthy belongings. Bai Man, hearing the commotion, came running. When she saw the scene, she shrieked and threw herself at Lu Chongfeng. What's going on? What about our house? What about our registration? Registration is gone. The house is gone, too. I leaned against the doorframe, enjoying the pathetic spectacle. Bai Man, weren't you looking forward to city life? Lu Chonggong can't even get ration coupons now. You should go back to the countryside with him. Lu Chonggong and Bai Manan were escorted out by the duty soldiers. Huan Xiao meant what he said. An officer of his rank declared the apartment to be his family quarters, and Lu Chongfeng, a dead man with no registration, had no room to argue. They struggled outside Bai Man when crying until her throat was raw. But they never managed to lay a finger on the door again. The next morning, I opened the window and saw Lu Chonggong standing under the locust tree not far away, looking like a ghost. He was carrying the tattered bundle I'd thrown out, looking 10 years older. He had probably spent the night at the guest house. But without ID, they had only let him stay one night. I was heading to the market with my net bag when he stopped me. Wanu, let's talk. His voice was his eyes bloodshot. I stopped, tucked my change into my pocket, and said, Comrade Lu, since your registration is cancelled, and our marriage is over, there's nothing to talk about. What will it take for you to stop? His voice rose in frustration. I went to the police station. They said cancelling is easy, but restoring it is hard. I need a certificate from my unit. Layers of approval, and they need to verify what I did while I was missing. Huh. Jin Xiao has my unit in a vice. They won't give me the certificate. Now I can't even buy a train ticket home in the 1980s without a household registration or an official letter of introduction. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't buy grain. You couldn't stay in an inn. And if a patrol officer stopped you on the street, you could be arrested as a vagrant. That's your problem. I stepped around him when you jumped into that river. Weren't you hoping to disappear forever? I'm just helping you fulfill your wish. Why? Please. I'm begging you. He dropped his usual self-important commander act and pleaded. Give me half of that 2,000 yuan pension. Manwin has no place to live. And I need to establish a new household registration. With some money, I can find connections and get my identity restored. I turned sharply as if I just heard a ridiculous joke. Half Lu Chongfeng. That money was my payoff. The price you paid to get rid of me by playing dead. And now you want to take it back from the dead. You're married to Huan Xiao now. You don't need the money. He had the nerve to argue. True. But I'd rather throw it into the river to feed the fish than give you a single cent. I told him, enunciating every word. Just then Bai Manwen ran around the corner. Her hair was disheveled and her leather shoes were scuffed. Chongfeng. The housing office said they won't sell us that house without a city registration. And I'm starving. Do you have any ration coupons? She tugged at his arm. Her eyes full of anxiety. She had thought she'd be living a city life with Lu Chongfeng. But now she couldn't even get a decent meal. Ration coupons. I said. Twisting the knife. Lu Changenfeng's grain and oil entitlement was cancelled along with his registration by Manon. It's not too late to take him back to the countryside. The Lu family still has a few acres of thin land. Don't they? It'll be hard work. But at least you won't starve. Bai Manwen's eyes nearly popped out when she heard the word countryside. Countryside. No. Chong. You promised to buy me a house in the city. To give me city registration. You promised. Annoyed by her nagging, Lu Chongfeng pulled his arm away roughly. Shut up. I can't even prove who I am. How can I buy a house? Watching the true love of these two start to sour in the face of poverty and desperation, I felt a wave of satisfaction. I left them to it and went to the butcher. Jin Xiao usually ate at the base. But he had said he'd be home today. I bought some pork belly and seasonal vegetables. When I got home, Xian Xiao was sitting at the table reading the newspaper. He looked up at me. Then at the meat I brought. Is Lu Chongfeng still out there keeping watch? He is. But he can't get in. I tied my apron and went into the kitchen. I finished the paperwork today. I've added you to my household registration. Xiao stood up and walked to the kitchen doorway. His tall frame blocked most of the light. If Lu Chongfeng bothers you again, call the police. I've filed a report recommending that his command be suspended indefinitely pending investigation. My hand paused on the knife. Thank you. Lin Wanu. You don't need to thank me. He stepped closer, took the knife from my hand, and began slicing the meat skillfully. I said, you give me status, and I'll give you protection. Now that we're married, your enemies are my enemies. His knife work was steady. Each slice the same thickness. This man who seemed as hard as steel to outsiders was cooking for me in this dim light. After dinner, Lu Chongfeng still hadn't given up. He was calling my name downstairs, drawing curious looks from the neighbors. Jin Xiao frowned, put on his jacket, and went down. I followed onto the balcony to watch. Jin Xiao walked up to Lu Chongfeng without a word and pulled a paper from his pocket, posting it on the community bulletin board. Lu Chongfeng. Due to the uncertainty of your identity and suspicion of faking your death to defraud the state, you have been placed under military district surveillance. If you approach this building again, I will have you arrested for illegal entry. Huan Xiao's voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable authority. Lu Chongfeng stared at the document. A copy of an official letter with a red letterhead. His body swayed. He knew Wuhan Xiao was cutting off all his escape routes. Bai Meinan hid behind him, too scared to even lift her head. Chongfeng Gu. Let's go. Let's ask your old subordinates for help. She tugged at him tearfully. Lu Chongfeng cast one last hateful glance toward my balcony, then turned and disappeared into the night. His old subordinates. Who would help an unidentifiable, disgraced dead man? In those days, taking sides was more important than anything. When I went back inside, Huan Xiao was moving his bedding into the bedroom. I was surprised. We're supposed to be acting for appearances. Sleeping in separate rooms would give us away. He spread the bedding, then turned to me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Don't worry. I'll sleep on the floor. Lin Wanu. I won't touch you until you say so. Watching his broad back, I felt a sense of security I hadn't felt in a long time. Meanwhile, Lu Chongfang and Bai Manwan were huddled on a bench in the train station, chewing on hard dry manu and drinking cold water. Bai Mainan looked at the blackened bread in her hand and finally exploded. Lu Chongfang. Didn't you say Lin Wanhua was a piece of wood? Easy to control. This is your control. We're like homeless dogs now. Are you happy? Lu Chongfang didn't answer. He gripped the cancellation certificate, feeling regret for the first time. If only he hadn't chosen to die that day. If only he were still the promising commander. But there was no if only in this world without his registration. He had no roots. Winter came. Before the first snow had even settled. News of Lu Chongfang and Bai Manwen's miserable life in the shanty town on the outskirts had spread through the compound. Without a city registration, Lu Chongfang couldn't get his ration coupons and couldn't find formal work. Bai Man, spoiled and expecting to become a wealthy city wife after his faked death, was now crammed into a drafty shack with him, fighting over baked sweet potatoes. One day, as I was shopping for New Year's supplies with Hugh and Xiao at the Military District Service Center, I ran into Lu Chongfang squatting by the dumpster. He was wearing that old military greatcoat, now grimy and frayed, hunched over as he picked through the trash for discarded cardboard. When he saw Hugh and Xiao and me walking side by side, me in a new cashmere coat, Hu with his arms full of meat and malted milk, Lu Changfen's livid face twisted. Lin Wanu. He dropped the cardboard and tried to rush at me, but a guard pushed him back. Where did this vagrant come from? Stay away from the leader. The guard didn't even recognize this disheveled man as the once commanding Commander Lu. I stopped, took Xiao's arm, and looked at him calmly. Comrade Lu. Cardboard sells for 2 cents a caddy. That should buy you and Bai Man a meal. Work hard. And if you can't get your letter of introduction back to the countryside, I can write an appeal for you. The malice in Lu Changfeng's eyes was almost tangible. Are you trying to drive me to my death? Manwen is sick. Burning up with fever. Delirious. She said she wants a bowl of plain noodles. Give me back my passbook. That money is mine. I laughed coldly. Your passbook. That belonged to a dead man. I donated it to the military district nursery. And if man wants noodles, you should ask her when she convinced you to fake your death. Did she ever imagine this day? Huh. Xiao cast a cold glance at him. Lu Chongfang. Your file status is currently pending investigation. Suspected defector. If Hua hadn't cancelled your registration, you'd be in a military court right now. Learn to be content. Lu Chonggong collapsed in the snow watching us walk away. A few days later, Bai Manwen came to see me. She stopped me at the factory gate. She had lost a lot of weight, and her once innocent face now showed all the meanness and exhaustion of a hard life. Lin Wanu. I'm begging you. Leave Chongfang go away out. She cried. Tears streaming. We can't afford coal. Our room is like an icebox. He's working at the docks carrying heavy loads. But the foreman cheats him because he has no ID. He used to be a commander. Those hands held a gun. They weren't meant for sacks of grain. I pushed my bicycle slowly, looking at the snow by the roadside. When he held that gun, he was plotting how to betray his family for you. Now carrying sacks suits his abilities just fine. What do you want? I'll give it back to you. She screamed, grabbing my handlebars. I don't want a house anymore. I don't want to stay in the city. Take him back. He hits me every night. Complains I eat too much. That I'm useless. I can't go on. I pushed her hands away. My eyes cold by Manwan. What kind of man did you think Lu Chongfang was? If he could abandon his wife for you, he can beat you over a few steamed buns. You thought it was true love. But now that love has been ground into glass shards, and it's too sharp to hold, you want to throw it back to me. I leaned close, lowering my voice. In my eyes, he's already dead. And dead people can't be recycled by man when crumpled to the ground. She finally understood. The Lin Wanhua she had once manipulated was gone for good. That night when I got home, Huhinia was sitting under the lamp repairing a radio. Since I married him, he never let me do the heavy work. That kind of respectful treatment was something I had never dreamed of in my past life. Bai Mainan came to see you today, he said without looking up, his tone concerned. Yes. She came to ask me to take back her trash. I washed my hands and started kneading dough. Lu Chongfang was arrested for fighting at the docks. Huh. Jin Xiao put down his pliers. His tone as casual as if he were talking about the weather without ID. Someone reported him as a criminal to save himself. He gave up by man said she had been spying on the military district for him. My hands paused. Then I laughed. Dog eats dog. That was Lu Changfeng's devotion. When it came down to life and death, his childhood sweetheart was just a scapegoat he could push out without a second thought. The next day, I went to the detention center through the iron bars. I saw a bruised and swollen Lu Chongfeng. When he saw me, he lunged at the bars like I was his lifeline. 1. Tell them who I am. I'm Lu Chongfeng. I'm a commander. I'm your husband. Get me out of here. I sat in the chair, took out a small mirror from my bag, and smoothed the stray hairs on my forehead. Comrade Lu, please control yourself. My voice was soft, but my words were like daggers. My husband, Huan Xiao, is outside waiting to take me home for dinner. As for you, a vagrant with no registration, no job, and suspected of sharing military secrets with your childhood sweetheart, you'd best do some soul-searching in here. Lin Wanu, you poisonous woman. He screamed hysterically. Poisonous. I put away the mirror and stood. Lu Chongfeng. This is called retribution. When you were hiding in that river, watching me cry my heart out on the shore, you should have known this day would come. I stamped your registration cancelled. You buried your own future. This is exactly what you deserve. As I walked out of the detention center, my man was being led in for questioning. When she saw me, she lunged like a mad woman, trying to claw at my face. But the guards pinned her to the wall. Lin Wanu, you'll get what's coming to you. I walked into the wind and snow without looking back. What's coming to me? I had already taken my revenge. Now, I was going to live my own steaming hot life. In the spring of 1987, the winds of reform and opening up blew from the south all the way to the northern compound. I submitted my resignation at the factory. In everyone's eyes, I was crazy, throwing away a secure job to start a business of uncertain future. But I knew that the golden decade ahead was just around the corner. Why? Have you really made up your mind? Huh? Xiao helped me pack my bags. His voice steady. He had just been promoted. Another star added to his shoulder. And his usually stern face held a rare gentleness. I want to try. That 2,000 yuan pension shouldn't just sit in a passbook. It needs to become a hen that lays golden eggs. I winked at him playfully. Huan Xiao didn't waste words. He pulled a thick stack of banknotes and certificates from his chest and pressed them into my hands. My salary and allowances over the years. You go out and build your fortune. If you lose it, come back. I'll take care of you. Holding the papers still warm from his body, my heart felt like it was on fire. In my past life, Lu Chongfeng had even kept track of the apples I bought. But Huan Xiao had given me his entire future. I went south to the special economic zone using the knowledge of the future that my rebirth had given me. I went from selling clothing to contracting factories. Each step timed perfectly with the era's rhythm. In half a year, my 2,000 yuan had grown tenfold. One day, I returned to the provincial capital to negotiate a raw materials deal. I was driving a borrowed Santana when I saw a crowd gathered around a ragged figure on the roadside. He was filthy, wearing a piece of plastic as a raincoat, holding a broken bowl, humbly bowing to passers-by. Anything spare some leftover rice. I used to be a commander. I earned medals. It was Lu Chongfeng. After his release, he had become a vagrant. Without his registration, he couldn't leave the province, couldn't find official work, and would even be deported if he tried to return to his hometown. Years of hunger and hard labor had broken his body, and his spine no longer stood straight. You're a commander. I'm a division commander. Get lost. Move. A passerby kicked his bowl away in disgust. Lu Chonggong scrambled on the ground to gather the scattered grains of rice, looking like a starving dog fighting for scraps. I lowered the window wearing sunglasses and watched coldly. Feeling my gaze, Lu Chongfeng looked up when he saw me well-dressed, sophisticated through the tinted windshield of the shiny car. He froze. Wan. His throat made an ugly rattling sound. He tried to move toward me, then shrank back in shame. I didn't get out of the car. I casually pulled a copy of the day's Provincial Capital Daily from my bag and threw it at his feet. The headline read, Special Zone Entrepreneur Lin Wanyua returns to hometown to invest. Boosting local industry. The photo showed me shaking hands with provincial leaders. Confident and poised. Lu Chongfeng. This is the piece of wood you threw away. My voice was calm without a trace of hatred because hating him now would be a waste. You always said Bai Manan was your true love. Where is she now? At the mention of Bai Man, Lu Changfen's eyes filled with a deep unforgettable hatred. That she ran away. She stole my last bit of money and ran off with a cigarette smuggler. Wani. I was wrong. Take me with you. I'll be your slave. Just get me registered again once more. He reached out with his dirty hands to grab the car door. I hit the accelerator and muddy water splashed onto his face. Lu Chongfeng. You're a dead man. I watched his figure shrink in the rearview mirror. Dead men don't need ID. That afternoon, I received a surprise call at the hotel. It was by Manwan. She was sobbing on the other end. Wanyua. Save me. That man tricked me and brought me to the mountains. He beats me. Makes me do terrible things. Please. For the sake of us growing up together. Send me some money. I listened to her broken voice. Unmoved by Manwan. When you convinced Lu Chongfeng to fake his death so you could buy a house in the city. Did you ever think that some roads once taken can't be turned back from? I didn't know. I really didn't know it would turn out like this. You knew you were just too greedy. My voice was cold. You wanted Lu Changfeng's power. You wanted my house. Now you have the ending you deserve. Since life in the mountains is hard. Just tough it out. After all, that was the true love you chose for yourself. I hung up and unplugged the phone. That evening, Huan Xiao appeared at the hotel door. He had just come from a meeting. Still in his uniform. Looking travel-worn. Finished your business? He asked. Finished. I also got to watch a little dog eat dog entertainment. Quite interesting. I stepped forward and straightened his collar. Huh. Shurao took my hand and pulled me into his arms. Now that you've seen enough. Don't look back. Our company's inauguration ceremony is next week. President Lin. Are you ready to cut the ribbon? I leaned against his broad chest. Listening to his steady heartbeat. I'm ready. But first I want to go back to the compound and buy that apartment. What for? I'm going to tear it down and plant flowers. I looked up. Smiling brightly on that land once filled with schemes and lies. I'm going to grow the most beautiful hyacinths. Lu Chongfeng by Manwan. Watch from your dark corners as I live the life you could never even dream of touching. In the winter of 1990, the expansion of the provincial capital's train station was in full swing. As a special guest investor representative, I stood on the red-carpeted podium. Cameras clicking furiously before me. I was now the renowned factory director Lin in business circles and the wife of the military district's youngest brigade commander. Huan Xiao. After the ceremony, I dismissed my assistants and walked alone to the garbage transfer station behind the station. There, a hunched figure was rummaging through the trash for leftover boxes of takeout. Lu Chongfeng had completely lost his mind. Years of hunger and the loss of his identity had broken his sanity. People in the area said he would tell anyone who listened that he was a commander with an army that could move mountains. He got only scorn and a few copper coins. I stood at a distance and looked one last time at the man who had ruined my previous life. He clutched a tattered piece of fabric. It was the remains of the great coat he had worn when he died without his household registration. He was like a ghost wandering the earth. Unable to work. Unable to stay in inns. Unable even to see a doctor when sick. In this era, when everything depended on identity and files, the death cancellation I had given him had become the cage that locked him for life. Changfeng. Look who that is. An old neighbor who recognized me deliberately teased him. Lu Changfeng's clouded eyes turned toward me. First, he stared blankly. Then he let out a terrified scream, scattering the leftover food in his hands. Ghost. Ghost. You're Lin Wanu. You've come to take me away. He scrambled backward, mumbling. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I just don't have ID. Don't take me back. Don't cancel me. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house with Manwan. I said nothing. The highest form of revenge is not to kill, but to leave someone alive and desperate in the ruins of their own making. As for Bai Man, I had received news months earlier. She had broken her leg trying to escape from that remote mountain village and had later been caught up in an illegal trade, receiving a heavy prison sentence without Lu Changfeng's protection, without my forbearance. Her so-called charms and schemes were nothing but a joke in the face of harsh reality. I turned and walked toward the black Hungee sedan waiting at the intersection. Huh. Jin Xiao stepped out of the car and opened the door for me. He was no longer in the prime of his youth. But his military bearing had only deepened with time. He took my bag and put his arm around my shoulders. Done. Done. I let out a long breath as if a stone that had pressed on my heart for 2 lifetimes had been lifted. The Lu family sent a letter. They're asking you to restore Lu Chang's registration. They say the old lady wants to see her living dead son before she dies. Huh. Jin Xiao helped me into the car. His voice flat. No. I fastened my seatbelt. My gaze steady. Lu Chongfeng died in the line of duty 5 years ago. His file is clear. The man alive today is just a nameless madman. He has nothing to do with us or with the Lu family. The car pulled away passing the old red brick buildings. I saw the former family compound being demolished. The small room that had once held all my suffering and humiliation collapsed in the roar of the bulldozers. In the dust, I seemed to see the Lin Wano of my past life mending Lu Changfeng's clothes in the lamplight. Shrinking into the dust for one word of praise from him. She smiled at me, then vanished with the ruins. Xin Xiao. Let's go to the special economic zone. I leaned back in the seat and watched the shadows race past the window. Yes. Whatever you want. Wherever you go. I'll go with you. Now. I not only had the millions I had turned my pension into, but I also had a relationship built on true equal respect. I had cancelled Lu Changfen's household registration. And I had cancelled the weak, vulnerable version of myself. The road ahead was wide. The sun shining bright. From now on, across the mountains and far away, I would live only for myself. What do you think of this story? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I look forward